I'm not surprised with Newcastle performance against Okwabag, and of course they won, and congratulations to them. And I can say that Gordon is on form. Newcastle, I told you, England team always perform very well when it comes to this very Cup Champion League. They're doing well, and of course today we shall be having some England teams in Conference League and of course Europa League. And of course we are going to start with this team still in Italy, that is Lille versus, and not in Italy, that is France, Lille versus Grenva Zazda. So this team, it's a little bit pronunciations, is found in Serbia, and of course you know with Europa always got those teams which their names actually is not sounding, but the games is tomorrow. So Lily, if you're to look at, of course, Lily sits on the fifth position, and Geneva, of course, Grevan sits on the first position there in their league. They're doing quite very well, and they are a very stubborn team. Remember the first leg whereby these two teams met. Actually, Greva won that match 1-0. So if you have to remember in November, that happened between Lily. So Lily was beaten. Now, this is the same teams that are meeting today, and of course in the last 5 games you look at that Lily, of course, won 1, draw 2, lost 2, and sits on the fifth position. And of course Grenva won 4 and draw 1, showing that this team is actually doing very well. But of course for us, we always say these are French league games, always there's a way they play, not many goals. And of course the other day we saw what happened between PSG and Monaco, whereby of course 5 goals were produced there between the two teams. But all in all, for this case, it's going to be a tricky one, but let us go with at least more than 1 goal in this game. Expecting more than 1 goal in this game, because I'm not trusting completely really because of this very team. These teams from Serbia, they are very disappointing sometimes. They are very, 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 very good, and they disappoint always, always those ones because they surprise people with goals. That's why I'm saying so disappointing. But I love how they play, and of course these other leagues. If it was England, of course, a team, that one I would trust. I will go with them a straight win there. But all in all, for 1.5 fits this every game. Now, the second game of the day is also Branny versus Bolgona. Now, always some people say Bolgona. It depends how you pronounce, whether it's a British or American English or the pidgin one, you get it. Oh, depends on the accent and who colonized you. And all in all, I can say that Branny, of course, lost 3 matches in the last 5 games, draw 1 and won 1, and they sit on the 13th position. And Bolgona, of course, won 2, lost 3, and sits on the 8th position. And if you are to look at these two teams again, they played as well in November 2025, and the match ended 0-0. Yes. So, but if you are to look at these two teams, not really, because the last game Bolgona won. So we are trusting them, but all in all, this is conference. Always goals are few. There are not very many. That is why I don't trust. So in this game, I'm going to guard. I'm going to give X2 that I want to guard Bolgona away from home, because it's going, anything can happen in this game. Yeah, remember the game of the previous ended 0-0 and there were no goals, and we can't tell exactly where things change, because if you're to assess their positions, it's almost the same, and the performance. So there's no that much changes in this very team. So that is why I'm choosing to go with actually X2. Yeah, in this game. Then, of course, the third one of the day is Noah versus AZ Alkmaar. Now, Noah is a team that Chelsea bet is completely. I know this now for being that time when Chelsea score 8 goals, bet them, of course, away from home. So, and this is a team which is meeting a team in Netherlands, AZ Alkmaar, of which they are actually also on good form. The last 5 games, they won 3, draw 1, and lost 1. So, making them look good, and they sit on the 6th position. But Noah in their league sits on the 5th positions. But remember, there are only 10 teams there, so it's average. Like it's between, yes, in the middle. It's like as number 10 and the bottler number 20. So it's just like a team that are struggling in the last 5 games. They won 1 and they lost 3 and drew 1, which is kinda also not looking good there for this team. But all in all, I'm going to give my decisions on this, and I will go with AZ Alkmaar to take all the 3 points. A win for them. That is what I expect. I trust this team, and I know they're good at scoring. They're not so much a disappointing compared to others, and I love it just to see them playing. Always, I love watching how they can surprise the big teams. Yes, with actually a win there. Now, this is actually the first ticket of the day. It's Lille versus Crevena. That is in Serbia, of course. This is Europa, and then Branny versus Bologna also. And we gave X2 and Noah versus AZ Alkmaar to go with a straight win for AZ Alkmaar in our first tickets. Now let's look at the second one, which has Conference League. Yeah, the conference is Coops versus Lech Poznań. Now this team, Lech Poznań, is also falling in those team like Poland. So if you to look at their performance and the positions at the moment, this with Coops actually right now sits on 8 positions with 1 win in the last 5 games, draw 2, lost 2, which is not looking very good. But we said conference and Europa, they are always few goals. Now, if you look at Lech itself and Poznań, also it's a team that is doing well. Won 3, lost 2, but a little bit consistent compared to Coops. But you know, this is the thing, this is the game that we must expect also some goals to come from this game. So in this game, I'm going with over 1.5 in this very game, because I see Coops also trying to find ways to the net, and Lech also, Poznań also trying to score goals. So all in all, these two teams can as well get a produce at least over 1.5 in this very game. And some people will always keep asking, when I say over 1 for or expecting more than a 1 goal, yes, that means it's 1.5. Yes, that one keep confusing many, and most of my people that come from TikTok, they keep asking, do you mean 0.5 or 1.5? That is 1.5 when I say expecting, because there are some language you have to be very careful with them. We got community guidelines that we need not to go against. Not that we don't know, we know them, but of course I always keep reserving that. And someone will say, why don't you tell us it's a win over 1.5? Community guideline, we must follow that. Yes, otherwise the video we put may be removed as well for violating, of course, that guideline. Then the second game, of course, in this very ticket is Zrinjski versus Crystal Palace. Now, this involves the England team that is right now is struggling, and of course, Crystal Palace is the team that at the point it's struggling, sitting on the 13th position compared to other teams. It used to be the team that are always in positions 6, 7, 8 there, but this time around things did not go well after them, of course, selling their of course a player that is easy to Arsenal, and then things don't look fine. It was like they are picking up, but things just stand there. Now, Crystal Palace in the last 5 games won 1, lost 3, draw 1, and of course, Zrinjski won 4 matches and lost 1 and sit on the second position, looking very pretty well. But of course, I said always I have that much respect for England team, but this is not the team to completely trust, because if you are to remember clearly, in that same Europa, there's a time that we expected Crystal Palace to beat their opponent, but the things turned to be the other way around, and of course was beaten serious. So in this game, we are not going to trust Crystal Palace with a straight win. I'm telling you, surprises can come. These teams, you don't know them, they are always on form, and always they come also when they have really come to win this game. Besides, they're at home, so anything can happen. So in that game, we shall expect also, we're going with over 1.5 for that very game. Now, the last game for these very tickets that we need to also to look at, and it's going to be the main game of the day. Yeah, I am summarizing with the main game of the day if you're to look at this conference and Europa League, because right now this Fenerbahçe versus Nottingham Forest is a key game here. Now, we all know that Fenerbahçe is doing quite very well, sitting on the second position with a 4-win and 1 draw in the last 5 games. And Nottingham Forest is the team that has picked so far 2 wins in the last, of course, 5 games, draw 2 and lost 1. And sit, of course, clearly just 1 step behind to the relegation zone, because should they drop any little point just this weekend, they're already on the red zone. But if they continue winning, they will survive being relegated. Remember 17, 1 step backward, of course, you're already there on the zone, relegation zone. So Newcastle, not Nottingham Forest, rather, not Newcastle, because they played very well. That's why I have it in my mouth. But these two teams, I feel there's something which is going to happen between these two teams. One side has a upper hand of winning the game, but us, we are investors. We don't want to risking to go with a straight one, because anything can happen. But as well, I know we are going to divide opinion here. I'm going to guard the home team. Yes, Fenerbahçe to win or to draw. I'm not trusting Nottingham Forest in this game. I know someone will come and reason with me why I don't give. When it comes to this kind of league, we got teams that have the home support and being consistent, having those big, actually, like being always the performance and giving the key players, the players that are physical enough, the players that can attack, that can push and has got a very good defense. It's Fenerbahçe at the moment. I saw that they have a very good display over the weekend, and I expect the same display to be this week, because when you look at Nottingham Forest, sometimes it's a disappointing, but all in all, anything can happen. We saw when they actually had to gain pathways with their coach because of some reason. Ever since Nottingham Forest, since things did not move as expected for them. So in this game, I already say that we shall go with home team to win or draw to be very safe. I would have given the straight win, but this is what I can say for now. My spirit, and basing on the analysis and they see the percentage, everything is going well to that side. And some people may see it's a draw, but I don't see any draw in this game. But I can only be to be safe to have a double stand, that is to guard the home team. So we say that winners never quit, but there are many games, of course, coming up, and of which we did not talk about. Those ones, of course, are still on Conference League. They're available, and some in Saudi Pro, they're also available. And when you go also to the Saudi Division 1, they're all available for grab, and of course I would be dropping them. And Women Champion League, still we got some other teams that are also playing today. And all in all, let's say it's a week that has been good for some teams, and some of the teams that disappoint, or as we said, we wish them the best in the next, of course, round. But this is that, and we see the second leg how it would actually add up. But of course, we got many teams coming up the next day, and of which we're going to assess them here.